Mike Radich here, and I'm now joined on the phone by CFFC Middleweight champion Tim Williams. Tim, how are you?
Great. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Thanks for asking. Tim, you got a fight coming up February 28th at CFFC 46. Before we start talking about that fight, let's talk about your last fight back in November at CFFC 43. That was where you claimed the CFFC Middleweight title. You defeated Ron Stallings by unanimous decision. It was the first time in your career that you went 5 rounds, and this was a fight where you were, getting a chance at redemption, I guess you could say. You had fought for the middleweight title once before. You fought against Dustin Jacoby and came up short in that fight. Just curious, how pleased were you with your performance against Stallings, and also, how happy are you to have that belt around your waist?
Yeah, I'm really happy to have the belt. It means a lot, now, I don't have, sometimes when if you have a belt, people will want to fight you, When you don't have a belt, it's kind of like if I'm a tough fight for someone, what do they have to gain, At least now they have, to be able to say CFFC is a pretty big organization, To have that belt kind of means, you're that guy at that weight class for this area,
Mm-hmm.
So, that means a lot to me. I wasn't really happy with my performance during the fight. I just felt like I wasn't getting off. I don't know. It just didn't feel like I wasn't happy. I'm usually not happy. There's only been a couple fights where I was really happy with my performance, but physically I just didn't feel right that fight. But I don't know. It was a good fight, and talking to my coaches and stuff afterwards, it was someone good like Ron Stallings. He's a good fighter. He can make you feel like you're having a bad day, So.
Mm-hmm.
I learned a lot too. It was the first time I ever went 5 rounds. So I learned a lot from that fight. It was good for me.
Mm-hmm. Now, even though you picked up the win and claimed the middleweight title, it was Ron Stallings who got the call to the UFC. Even though he was coming off a loss to you, he got a call to fight against Uriah Hall on short notice. Did you know about this? And if you did know about it, were you offended? Were you upset that they didn't give you the call, even though you had won the fight?
No, I had the call too.
Okay.
I couldn't make it. The weight cut was in 5 days. It was 5 days notice. I probably could have made the weight. I was running around between 210, 215-ish. It was just, the weight cut would have been too much for me, I feel like my career is going in the right path. I didn't want to go and embarrass myself on a 5-day notice. You know what I mean?
Right.
Especially with that weight cut. He's a tough dude, and I don't. Anybody in UFC is tough. I don't know if I would have wanted to take cut 30 pounds in 5 days against anybody. So it just didn't feel right doing it. I feel like I'm going to be there. I didn't want to. I didn't want to take that risk making that cut and then going in there, especially he got cut, he got an eye cut, he's in UFC now, but he can't train for a while, and just that mentality of getting that loss, I didn't, I'm sure that isn't good for his career. I didn't want that,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How much does that factor in you not taking this fight with being on The Ultimate Fighter and getting close to being in the UFC, but not being able to actually fight in the octagon in front of a big crowd and on TV? Did that factor into your situation? Okay, in the past, it didn't happen for me. Now, when I get a second opportunity, I got to take it and run with it, and I got to put myself in a good position. Did The Ultimate Fighter and that experience factor into your decision not to take this fight? Let's say if you had never gone on The Ultimate Fighter and this was the first time they were calling you out of the blue, would you have taken the fight?
No, I don't know. I don't know. Probably not. Yeah, probably not, man. Like I said, I don't cut weight like a lot of these guys. Some guys cut 20 pounds in 3 days. I like to diet down within 10 pounds and then just cut that last 10 every fight. I don't like to kill myself. Even that 10 pounds is killing myself getting my diet down. I walk around 215 sometimes, so getting my diet down and everything to get to the fight is rough, 5 days, it's just brutal, so I don't know. You only get one body, you only get one brain, stuff like that. I don't want put myself at risk on a 5 days, notice to make that weight. I mean, UFC is big. It's a huge opportunity, but I'm gonna, right now I got a belt for one of the biggest regional promotions out there, and I'm gonna keep picking. Ron Stallings was, one of the best guys on the East Coast. I feel like I beat him. So whoever's next that wants to come out and fight, like the Anthony Smith, he's a great fighter. I want to beat him. I'm gonna keep beating whoever they put in front of me until I'm in, till the big show sees that and then puts me where I feel like I belong.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Just curious, when did you get the offer to fight on February 28th?
I don't know. At least, I don't know. A little while back. I can't even put a date on it. I've known at least 3-4 weeks. I've known my opponent. I knew the date was already set a while ago that I was going to fight February 28th. They had a card this month. I think it was the 7th or something like that. And I was thinking I wasn't going to be ready for that. I wanted a couple more weeks, and then the 28th sounded good. The venue sounded good. Stuff like that. So that's where I wanted to fight. I haven't fought here yet, so try that out and stuff like that. So I knew I was going to fight there for a while, but I didn't know Anthony Smith until, like I said, at least 3 weeks ago.
Okay, I see. Now, when they offered you Anthony Smith, and since you're their champion now, and obviously CFFC is a very good organization, like you touched on a little bit earlier, a lot of people want to fight for that organization because they know if they do good there, they'll get a call to the UFC. Did CFFC come to you with a couple of names, or did they say, hey, we're trying to find you a UFC vet, a guy who's been on big shows before? Like, did they give you a heads up on who they're going to match you up with, or did they just offer you a name?
I think they had another guy. They had offered another name. I forget the guy, but he was pretty good too. At this point, I'm pretty much willing to fight whoever they can bring. Whoever has the best. If they have Joe Schmo or whatever, and they have this guy who's been in front of who has an eye on him. I want the guy who has an eye on him because that's going to bring more looks, eyes towards me. So, but I'm willing to pretty much fight anybody, because if I can't beat anybody that isn't in the UFC, that isn't fighting for a huge organization, then how do I belong in a huge organization,
Okay. Makes sense. Now, I'm just curious. Obviously, you're very close to getting a call to the UFC. You already got a call, but for the weight cut and the fight being on such short notice and given the opponent, you couldn't take that fight. So you're definitely on the UFC's radar, but would you have any interest if Bellator or World Series of Fighting or one of those other organizations makes you a nice offer? Would you consider them?
Possibly. Yeah, possibly. I mean, the money would have to be right in order. I know some of the contracts are a little crazy with some of the other organizations, like where they would lock you down for 3 years or whatever, stuff like that. Just whatever would be in my best interest. Right now the goal is UFC. They, you make, right out of the gate, you're making good money. A baseline fighter in the UFC, I think it's like 8-8 for your first fight. You fall off. You win in one and lose one in Bellator. You might be making 2-2, or World Series. You might be making 15-15, 2 or 2. It's just I can make that money, regionally without being locked down into that huge contract where I can't be released to the UFC. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, it would have to make sense for me, But right now, the goal is UFC. That's where the money's at. That's where the big show's at. That's where every fighter wants to be. That's where I want to be. I make a decent living at what I do, being a carpenter. I could just be a carpenter for the rest of my life if I had to. My dream is to be in UFC and, one day, to be a champion.
Is the goal to become a full-time fighter? I know you just said that you could be a carpenter the rest of your life, but is the goal to not do that anymore and just fully focus on fighting?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. The only way I'm going to be the best fighter I could be is if I, train and train full time. And and that's with the UFC, a couple fights, 1 or 2 fights, I could be in that position. Or one fight of the night bonus, I could be in that position where I can make a run at full time. So I don't know. That's right. That's the goal, to be a full time fighter. That way right now my body gets banged up from work and just time and training at night, long days and short rest. If I could just train and focus on training, that'd be great.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Do you train every day of the week, or do you take some days off, or do you take time off of work? How does this all work out? How do your days look?
I kind of just listen to my body. Usually, if I'm hard days. Usually I take off like Monday and Friday. Hard days Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Saturday and Sunday I go real hard. And then if I'm feeling good, I'll either train Monday and then take off Friday, or I'll take off Monday and then train Friday. Like tonight, I feel good, so I'm going to train. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, my schedule's already set, so I'm going to train, and then I'll just take off Friday. So yeah, it just depends how my body feels. But usually during fight camp, I take off Monday or Friday, or sometimes both if my body's pretty beat up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And when I'm out of camp, usually I take off Sundays. That way I have a full day rest.
Okay. Now, do you own your own company, or do you work for a family member? Like, how are you able to take off some time to pursue the fighting?
I'm a union carpenter, and the outfit I work for a scaffold company, and they give me the time when it's needed. They know I'm a fighter and stuff like that. So this was my last week of training. So after this week, next week I'm going to take off for my weight cut. Just let my body heal up, not worrying about waking up 4:35 in the morning, sleeping in, stuff like that. Just heal up and get ready for the fight. Mm-hmm. So they know what the deal is as far as fighting, and me having to take time off, and they're pretty good with that.
Okay. Now, since you started your MMA career, have you only worked for this company, or did you work for someone else in the past? What I'm basically getting at is, has there ever been an employer that you've had that hasn't been okay with your fighting and taking time off? No. Ever since I worked with a different company before, and they were the same thing. I could take a couple of days off if when needed or whatever. They're both union companies. They both can find other workers. It's not like I'm the only guy. You know what I mean? It's not. Okay. I'm not going to hurt the company by taking off. They could fill my spot with another guy if they have to. They can call the hall and pick up another carpenter, or they have guys. You know what I mean? They can pick up. So I try to give them a heads up and try to work with them and stuff like that too. And so far it's been good. I'm gonna either way. If I need the rest for a fight, whether I can or can't, I'm gonna take those days. So so far I've been lucky. Everybody's been cool with it. They support me a lot. A lot of guys from work come out and watch me fight. My boss might come, so it's cool. They're really good about it. Okay. Good to know, because there's some guys out there, like Patrick Cummins, when he got signed to the UFC, his job fired him. Like, hey, you can't take this call, you got to be at work, and they fired him. So it's good to hear that everyone that's from your other job supports you. But anyways, February 28th, you're taking on Anthony Smith. What are your thoughts about him as an opponent?
He's tough, man. I mean, anybody with that many fights, he got 20 wins, I mean, that's tough. He's a tough opponent. He's a gamer. He's been all around. I'm sure, he's, nerves aren't an issue for him. He's going to be ready to fight. He's going to come there in shape. He's done this a bunch. He's a gamer. I got to be on point. You can't make anybody I'm fighting at this point. I can't make a mistake. I think that's what happened on the show. I'm so used to when sometimes when you fight guys, you can make mistakes, and they're not that good to capitalize on those mistakes. When I fought on the show, I fought Diego Lima. he was good. I made one mistake, and he capitalized on it, finished the fight. You know, so you just got to be sharp, and you know, you got to be on point and, you know, ready to fight these guys, because if you make one mistake, they're gonna beat you. So yeah, he's a good opponent, and he's game, and it's gonna be, I'm sure it'll be a tough fight. You know? Either way, I'm gonna be prepared, and I definitely see my hand getting raised. You know.
Without giving away your game plan or anything like that, where do you feel you have the biggest advantage in this fight?
I don't know. You know, I think my ground game. You know, my ground game is better for sure. I feel like I train with a lot of guys that are good in jiu-jitsu, and you know, I've trained all over the place with different people, and my jiu-jitsu definitely feels like you know, I feel like I have a heavy advantage in the jiu-jitsu area, in the ground game for this fight. But it's an MMA fight. It's not a jiu-jitsu match, you know. So if I gotta set things up with my hands. You know, everything comes. You start standing, you start stand up. You know, you start kickboxing pretty much. You know, so I have to. If I want it to be there, I got to take it there. So, but I feel good everywhere. I feel good in this fight everywhere.
He's been going back and forth between welterweight and middleweight. I don't think you could ever make welterweight. I think you'd have to cut off a leg to make 170. So you're a lot bigger than he is. Will your size and strength be a big advantage to you in this fight, do you think, with your two styles?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people don't know my strength until I put my hands on them. I don't really look like too much of a strong guy, you know. So I feel like the strength, unless, you know, like a stud wrestler that's been wrestling, you know what I mean? Like a Division I type wrestler, a lot of their strength is, you know, it's definitely unique in itself. But I feel like my strength is you know, helps a lot in a lot of my fights. Yeah, I think it'll be good. You know, I try not to focus too much on that. You know, I think it's gonna, you know, some guys that bounce between those two weight classes feel like they have nothing to lose at 85. You know what I mean? They could always feel like they could go back to 70 and stay there to make you know what I mean, to make a solid run at whatever they want to do. I feel like you know, if I was to jump up to a 5, I feel like the pressure would be off me. I'm at a different weight class. I'm not cutting as much weight. The camp is funner. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that could be dangerous too. So, you know, I'm just gonna take it like it's anybody else. I don't really pay attention to him jumping around between weight classes or not. You know.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Right. Looking at him and looking at what his camp is probably saying, I know you said that you like to focus on yourself, not so much the opponents, but what do you think his camp is telling him to do against you in this fight?
Probably just keep it standing. If I was to guess, I mean, I don't know. You know, if you know, if I was to look at my record and look at my wins, and I would you know, say stand on my feet if I was him, but you never know. People may, you know, think that, you know, okay, he thinks we're going to keep it on the feet, let's shoot on him to see how he is off his back, or you know, so I'm not sure, you know, I'm not sure. People do different things with camps, you know, like some people try to surprise, like, you know what I mean? They know, if they think I'm a jiu-jitsu guy, they might go, all right, let's put him on his back, your jiu-jitsu is good, you don't know how good your jiu-jitsu is, you know, you feel great this camp, let's put him on his back, or, you know, so, I'm not sure, you know, I'm not sure, you won't know until you get out there, but, yeah, if I'm guessing that's what his camp wants him to do, try to stand up with me.
How many times have you played this fight in your head?
A good amount, man. A good amount. You know, I don't know. Everything's coming together real nice for this camp. You know, knock on wood. I mean, I still have a good week of hard training left, but I feel my body physically feels great. You know, the weight's coming along great. Everything's, you know, perfect. It's rare you go into a fight feeling great. You know, like you know, you're usually banged up here or there from training. I feel healthy. I feel, you know, I'm putting in hard rounds, hard long rounds, you know, and you know, the cardio's there, everything's there. So I feel great. I'm not really imagining too much what's going to happen. I just know I go out there and perform. I'm going to come home with my hands raised, you know.
Mm-hmm. Well, Tim, real quick before I let you go, do you have any sponsors you'd like to thank, and is there anything you'd like to say to the fans?
Yeah, you know, thank you for everybody. You know, thank you for the support. Everyone that supports me, I really appreciate it. And my sponsors, Shaw Masonry, OVT, Van Dodge, Plowman's Windows and Doors, Brent Speaks Promo, Firehouse Tattoo, and Simcoe Construction, and CDS Barbecue. They're my sponsors, and you know they support me, you know, and stuff like that. So, yeah, I appreciate everything, and my team, Team Balance, NJ and May, and Mac Moy, and 302 Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So that's it. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Tim, thank you for taking the time to talk. I really appreciate it. Good luck February 28th at CFFC 46 against Anthony Smith.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.